There's a liquid that decomposes anything. Not slowly, not over months, not with constant turning and monitoring and temperature checking and all the complicated steps they told you composting requires. This liquid breaks down organic matter so fast you can watch it happen. Leaves that would take a year to decompose vanish in days. Kitchen scraps that would sit in a bin for months disappear in a week. This liquid needs no bin. Forget the expensive tumbler they sold you. Forget the 3-compartment system the gardening magazine recommended. Forget the specialized containers and the aeration tools and the thermometers and all the equipment. The industry convinced you that composting requires. This liquid works on a pile on the ground. It works on leaves dumped in a corner. It works anywhere organic matter sits. This liquid costs nothing. You make it from 2 ingredients already in your kitchen. Rice water that you would pour down the drain. Milk that costs pennies per batch. That is all. No special cultures to purchase. No activators to buy. No monthly subscriptions to maintain. Free forever, unlimited. This liquid has been used for over 60 years. Korean farmers discovered it in the 1960s. They developed an entire agricultural system around it. They grew crops without synthetic fertilizers. They raised livestock without antibiotics. They built soil so rich and alive that their yields exceeded industrial farms using chemicals. They tried to share this knowledge with the world. They published papers. They taught workshops. They traveled to other countries to spread the technique. For 60 years, they have been teaching anyone who would listen, and you have never heard of it. You have heard of compost tumblers that cost $300. You have heard of Bokashi bins that require special brand you must purchase. You have heard of vermicomposting systems that need worms and bedding and careful maintenance. You have never heard of the liquid that does more than all of these combined for the cost of rice, water, and milk. The compost industry made sure of that. They sell $2 billion of composting equipment every year. Bins and tumblers and aerators and activators and thermometers and moisture meters and all the accessories that make composting seem complicated. Every homeowner who learns about this liquid is a customer lost. Every gardener who makes their own is revenue eliminated. Today we are opening the file on the liquid that decomposes anything organic in days instead of months. The Korean farming secret that built soil without synthetic inputs. The free solution that makes expensive equipment obsolete. And the industry that buried this knowledge to keep selling you products you never needed. If this matters to you, subscribe and hit the bell. The file is open. The liquid is called lab serum. Lactic acid, bacteria serum, a concentrated culture of beneficial microorganisms that Korean farmers have used for more than 6 decades. The foundation of a system called Korean Natural Farming, or KNF, developed by a man named Cho Han-kyu, beginning in the 1960s. Cho Han-kyu was not a scientist, he was a farmer. He observed nature and asked questions that scientists were not asking. He noticed that the forest floor decomposed leaves without anyone turning, piles, or checking temperatures. He wondered what the forest knew that modern composting had forgotten. The answer was microorganisms, specifically lactic acid bacteria, the same family of bacteria that ferments yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, and dozens of other foods across human cultures. Bacteria so safe that we eat them deliberately. Bacteria so powerful that they break down organic matter at speeds that seem impossible. Cho spent years learning to cultivate these bacteria. He developed simple methods using materials available to any farmer. He tested the results on his own land. He refined the techniques until they were reliable and repeatable. What he created was revolutionary. A farming system that needed no purchased inputs. A method that built soil instead of depleting it. A practice that anyone could implement regardless of wealth or access to industrial supply chains. He spent the rest of his life teaching. He founded training centers. He certified instructors. He traveled the world sharing what he had learned. His students carried the knowledge to Hawaii, the Philippines, Africa, South America, and eventually every continent. But the knowledge never reached the mainstream. The gardening magazines never featured it. The agricultural extension services never taught it. The home improvement stores never mentioned it. 60 years of proven results, and most people have never heard the name Cho Han-kyu. The science of lactic acid bacteria explains why this liquid works so effectively. Lactic acid bacteria are among the oldest organisms on Earth. They evolved billions of years ago. They have been breaking down organic matter since before plants existed on land. They are extraordinarily efficient at what they do. The bacteria produce lactic acid as a byproduct of their metabolism. This acid creates an environment hostile to harmful microorganisms. Pathogens that cause disease cannot survive in acidic conditions. The beneficial bacteria outcompete and eliminate the harmful ones. The bacteria also produce enzymes that break down complex organic molecules. Cellulose, the tough fiber in plant cell walls, dissolves under enzymatic action. Lignin, the compound that makes wood rigid, softens and degrades. Materials that would take months or years to decompose naturally break down in days when these bacteria are concentrated. The process generates heat as a byproduct. A pile treated with lab serum warms noticeably within hours. The warmth is evidence that decomposition is occurring. The temperature can reach 130 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to kill weed seeds and pathogens. The end product is not just compost. It is compost inoculated with beneficial microorganisms. When applied to soil, these microorganisms continue working. They break down organic matter already in the soil. They make nutrients available to plants. They suppress soil-borne diseases. The benefit extends far beyond the original decomposition. The research supporting lab serum spans decades and continents. The University of Hawaii has studied Korean natural farming extensively. Their College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources has published guides on lab serum production and application. They have documented yield increases in vegetable crops ranging from 20 to 40% when KNF methods are used. Research in the Philippines has shown similar results. The Philippine Rice Research Institute has tested lab serum on rice paddies. The treatment reduced the need for synthetic fertilizers while maintaining or improving yields. The cost savings for farmers were substantial. Studies in Africa have demonstrated that KNF methods work across climatic zones. Projects in Kenya and Uganda have trained smallholder farmers to produce lab serum. The farmers reported improved soil health, reduced pest pressure, and lower input costs. The techniques proved adaptable to local conditions. The scientific literature contains hundreds of papers on lactic acid bacteria in agriculture. The mechanisms are well understood. The effectiveness is documented. The safety is established. There is no scientific controversy about whether lab serum works. The controversy is entirely commercial. The composting industry has built a $2 billion annual market on the assumption that decomposition requires equipment. The market begins with bins. Simple plastic bins cost $50 to $100. Tumbler systems cost $150 to $400. Multi-compartment setups cost $300 to $600. The entry point is rarely free. The market continues with accessories: compost thermometers to check temperature, moisture meters to verify water content, aerating tools to turn the pile, activators to speed decomposition. Each accessory solves a problem that lab serum eliminates entirely. The market extends to ongoing purchases. Bokashi brand must be bought repeatedly. Worm bedding must be replaced. Activator products must be reapplied. The revenue model depends on continuous consumption. A customer who learns to make lab serum exits this market entirely. They need no bin because the liquid works on open piles. They need no thermometer because the process self-regulates. They need no activator because the liquid is the activator. They need nothing the industry sells. The industry's response has been strategic silence. They have not attacked lab serum directly. Attacking would draw attention. Instead, they have simply ignored it. The gardening magazines they advertise in do not cover Korean natural farming. The home improvement stores they supply do not stock materials for lab production. The influencers they sponsor do not mention alternatives to purchased products. The silence has been effective. Millions of gardeners struggle with slow composting, unaware that a solution exists. They buy bins that do not perform. They add activators that barely help. They give up entirely and bag their leaves for the landfill. The knowledge that would help them has been suppressed. The suppression extends to professional horticulture. Agricultural extension agents trained in conventional methods do not learn KNF techniques. University programs funded by industry do not research alternatives to purchased inputs. The professional infrastructure that could spread this knowledge has been captured. But the internet has broken the information monopoly. Korean natural farming communities have formed online. Practitioners share their results. Instructors post tutorials. The knowledge that was suppressed is now accessible to anyone who searches for it. The production of lab serum is remarkably simple. The process begins with rice wash water. When you rinse rice before cooking, save the cloudy water. This water contains starches and sugars that feed microorganisms. The first rinse is richest and works best. Pour the rice wash water into a container, filling it no more than half full. Cover the container loosely with cloth or paper. The covering allows air exchange while keeping debris out. Set the container in a cool, dark place. Wait 5 to 7 days. During this time, indigenous microorganisms colonize the rice water. These microorganisms are present everywhere in the environment. They find the food source and multiply. You will notice a slight sour smell developing. This indicates fermentation is occurring. After the waiting period, strain out any film or solids. Measure the volume of liquid remaining. Add an equal volume of milk. The milk provides proteins and fats that specifically feed lactic acid bacteria. The lab outcompete other organisms and take over the culture. Cover loosely again and wait another 5 to 7 days. A curd will form on top as the lab consume the milk proteins. The liquid beneath the curd is your lab serum. It will smell pleasantly sour, like yogurt or cheese. Remove the curd, which can be composted or fed to animals. Strain the liquid into clean containers. The serum can be stored at room temperature for months. Some practitioners add an equal volume of molasses to extend shelf life to a year or more. That is the entire process. Rice water you would discard, milk that costs pennies. 2 waiting periods, no special equipment, no purchased cultures, no recurring costs. The application of lab serum is even simpler. For composting, dilute the serum at a ratio of 1 part serum to 20 parts water. Pour or spray this mixture onto your organic matter. You do not need a bin. A pile on the ground works perfectly. Even a heap of leaves in the corner of your yard works. Apply the diluted serum when you add new material to the pile. The bacteria colonize the fresh organic matter immediately. Decomposition begins within hours. You will notice the pile warming within a day. Turn the pile occasionally if you want faster results, but turning is not required. The bacteria work from the surface inward. Material on the outside decomposes first. Eventually, everything breaks down. Without turning, decomposition takes 2 to 3 weeks. With turning, it can complete in 7 to 10 days. The finished compost is dark, crumbly, and smells like earth. It is fully decomposed with no recognizable plant material remaining. It is also alive with beneficial microorganisms that will continue working when applied to your garden. For direct soil application, dilute the serum at 1 part to 1,000 parts water. Yes, that ratio is correct. The bacteria are so effective that tiny amounts create massive colonies. Apply to soil around plants or drench beds before planting. The soil application suppresses disease, improves nutrient availability, and stimulates plant growth. The effects are visible within days. Plants green up, growth accelerates, health improves. The results look like expensive fertilizer application, but costs nothing. The comparison to conventional composting reveals how much the industry has misled gardeners. Conventional composting requires a carbon to nitrogen ratio of approximately 25 to 1. Too much carbon in decomposition stalls too much nitrogen, and the pile becomes slimy and smells. Achieving the right ratio requires calculating, measuring, and adjusting constantly. Lab serum eliminates this requirement. The bacteria adjust to whatever ratio is present. They work on pure leaves, which are high carbon. They work on kitchen scraps, which are high nitrogen. They work on everything in between. No calculation required. Conventional composting requires moisture levels between 40 and 60%. To dry, and the microorganisms die. To wet, and oxygen cannot penetrate. Maintaining proper moisture requires monitoring and adjusting. Lab serum tolerates a wider moisture range. The bacteria survive drier conditions than conventional composting organisms. They tolerate wetter conditions because they are anaerobic capable. The margin for error is enormous. Conventional composting requires aeration to supply oxygen. Without turning, the pile becomes anaerobic and produces foul odors. Regular turning is labor-intensive and requires tools or equipment. Lab serum works aerobically or anaerobically. The lactic acid bacteria thrive without oxygen. If the pile goes anaerobic, they continue working. If you turn it and add oxygen, they work faster. Either approach produces finished compost. Conventional composting requires time. Even under ideal conditions, decomposition takes 3 to 6 months. Under suboptimal conditions, a year or more. The delay between adding material and using finished compost is substantial. LAB serum reduces time by 80 to 90%. Material that would take 6 months decomposes in 3 weeks. Material that would take a year breaks down in a month. The acceleration is not marginal. It is transformational. Every supposed requirement of composting that the industry has taught you is a requirement only of composting without lab serum. Add the bacteria and the requirements vanish. The bins become unnecessary. The accessories become pointless. The entire market of composting products becomes obsolete. The implications extend beyond home gardening. Municipal composting operations spend millions on equipment and facilities, massive turning machines, temperature monitoring systems, forced aeration infrastructure. All of this exists because conventional composting is slow and finicky. LAB serum could reduce municipal composting costs dramatically. The infrastructure requirements would shrink. The time to finished product would accelerate. The throughput of existing facilities would multiply. Agricultural operations generate enormous volumes of organic waste. Crop residues, animal manures, food processing byproducts. Managing this waste is expensive and often environmentally problematic. Current approaches frequently fail, creating pollution and wasting resources. LAB serum offers a solution that any farmer can implement. The serum costs essentially nothing to produce. The application requires no specialized equipment. The results convert waste into valuable soil amendment. The economics work for operations of any size. The food industry disposes of millions of tons of organic waste annually. Restaurants, grocery stores, food processors, and households together waste an estimated 40% of all food produced. Most of this waste goes to landfills, where it generates methane and occupies space. LAB serum could divert organic waste from landfills at minimal cost. Community composting operations could process food waste without expensive equipment. The barrier to entry would drop. The capacity would expand. The environmental benefit would scale. None of this serves the interests of the composting equipment industry. They profit from complexity, not simplicity. They profit from problems, not solutions. They profit from your ignorance of alternatives. The livestock applications of lab serum demonstrate its broader power. Korean natural farming uses lab serum extensively in animal husbandry. The serum is added to drinking water mixed with feed and sprayed in housing areas. The results have been documented across species and continents. Pigs raised with lab serum produce dramatically less odor. The bacteria suppress the organisms that create ammonia and other foul-smelling compounds. Neighbors of pig farms complain less. The farmers spend less on odor mitigation. Poultry raised with lab serum show improved gut health. The beneficial bacteria colonize the digestive tract and outcompete pathogens. Disease rates drop. The need for antibiotics decreases. The birds grow healthier on less medication. Cattle-fed lab serum show improved feed conversion. The bacteria assist digestion, allowing animals to extract more nutrition from the same feed. The cost per pound of gain decreases. The profitability of operations improves. These benefits threaten the pharmaceutical and feed additive industries. They profit from selling antibiotics and growth promoters and digestive aids. A free alternative made from rice, water, and milk is not in their business model. The suppression of lab serum in agriculture follows the same pattern as in composting. The knowledge exists, the research supports it, the practitioners prove it works. But the industries that would lose revenue ensure that most farmers never learn. The home production of LAB serum connects you to something larger than composting. When you make LAB serum, you are cultivating organisms that have been on this planet for billions of years. You are working with the same bacteria that ferment foods across every human culture. You are participating in cycles of decomposition and regeneration that predate humanity. The process is alive. The bacteria are living organisms doing what they evolved to do. When you apply the serum to your garden, you are not adding a dead product. You are introducing a living community that continues to grow and work and multiply. This living quality is why lab serum works so differently from chemical fertilizers. Chemicals feed plants directly, but do nothing for soil biology. LAB serum feeds the soil biology that then feeds the plants. The approach builds rather than depletes. It improves rather than degrades. The philosophy of Korean natural farming reflects this understanding. Cho Han-kyu taught that healthy soil creates healthy plants. He taught that inputs should enhance life rather than replace it. He taught that farming should work with nature rather than against it. These principles apply far beyond professional agriculture. Every garden, every yard, every container of houseplants exists within the same biological systems. The bacteria that decompose leaves in the forest will decompose leaves in your backyard. The cycles that build soil in nature will build soil anywhere you cultivate. LAB serum is a tool for participating in these cycles. It is not a product extracted from nature and sold back to you. It is nature itself, cultivated in your kitchen and applied with your hands. The connection is direct and unmediated. The industry cannot monetize this connection. They cannot sell you what you make yourself. They cannot patent organisms that exist freely in the environment. They cannot control knowledge that spreads through communities. Their only strategy is suppression, and suppression is failing. You now know what they have tried to bury. You know that lab serum decomposes organic matter in days rather than months. You know that it requires no bin, no equipment, no purchased inputs. You know that it works on anything organic and produces superior results. You know that Korean farmers have used this technique for 60 years. You know that universities have researched and validated it. You know that practitioners on every continent have proven it works. You know that the composting industry sells $2 billion of equipment annually. You know that every customer who learns to make LAB serum is lost revenue. You know that the industry's silence about alternatives is strategic, not accidental. You know that you can start today. Rice water from your next meal, milk from your refrigerator. 2 weeks of patience. Then, unlimited decomposition power forever. Free, controlled by you. The leaves piling in your yard are not a problem. They are a resource waiting to transform. The kitchen scraps filling your trash are not waste. They are future soil waiting to become. The organic matter everywhere around you is not garbage. It is possibility. The liquid that decomposes anything is waiting for you to make it. The compost industry had 60 years to keep this buried. They succeeded longer than they should have. They profited from complexity when simplicity was available. They sold solutions to problems they helped create. The ground is shifting. The knowledge is spreading. The communities are growing. The old barriers are falling. Your pile of leaves will become soil in days, not months. Your kitchen scraps will vanish into black gold. Your garden will thrive on what you made with your own hands. One liquid, any organic matter, no bin required. What will you decompose first? If this video helped you, subscribe and hit the bell. Every share spreads